Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Reframing Resolutions. So, we're going to get this started and try to keep this quick. So, I encourage you to take notes. We are recording today's session. So, we will be posting this on our social media, in our Facebook, and also on YouTube. So, if you want to go back and watch any part of this session, you can today. My name is Megan Woolerton. I am the owner of Life Force Wellness. I hold certifications as a personal trainer, health coach, and positive psychology practitioner. So I work with clients on a variety of different goals throughout the year and work with them not just physically, but also with the mental aspect. I'm joined today with Coach Candid, Christina Stiers. Christina, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be joining your kickoff this year. And again, my name is Coach Candid. Christina Stiers, go by Coach Candid because I do give candid feedback. That's how the whole coach name came about. I am a certified goal success coach. I specialize in goal achievement only, which is why I'm excited to join Megan in her venture here working with you because she adds that, holistic approach to a life change, which is her, life force method. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to attend.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive right in today. Our overview, just so you understand what we're going to be talking about, is really talking about how to create those SMART goals. And we've all kind of seen the SMART acronym before, but we're going to take a deeper dive into it and really dissect kind of the common mistakes that are made when we're creating those SMART goals and how to create an action plan. We're also going to go over the different solutions that we offer to clients and some of the things that you can take away today is a strong understanding on how to set really attainable goals. A lot of times we kind of reach for the moon and we don't really plan for life. And so we're going to help you to create an action plan and give you that motivation to really rock 2023. So, starting out the acronym SMART, for those that haven't heard it, SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. We're going to dissect each one of these. First one, when you are setting your goal, you want to think about it like a scientist would. You want it to be specific and measurable because as we go throughout the year, you want to make sure that you can actually achieve that goal. You want to make sure that what you're doing is working. And so you need to have those checkpoints and check ins, and you need something that you can specifically measure so that you know whether or not what you're doing is working or not. So typically, when I sit down with a client, I hear things like, I want to lose weight. I want to save money. I want to get healthier this year, or I want to spend more time with my family. And those are all great goals, but they're extremely vague. So the first thing we want to do is set a specific and measurable goal. So it might turn into something like, I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to save $10,000 this year, or I want to get off my blood pressure medication. And that's a sign that I'm becoming healthier. Or I want to spend 120 hours of quality time with my family. And we'll define that quality time. Typically, when I work at these work life balance programs, that quality time means that is time, phones down, it's game nights with the family, it's trips to the park, trips to the zoo, it's time where we are just with the family. There's no other distractions. The next piece is that attainable and realistic. And this is where the breakdown starts to happen is that it's really simple to think that, oh, this is attainable. To lose 50 pounds, I have 50 pounds to lose. It would put me in a healthy BMI. It's not unrealistic for a person to achieve this goal if all things go as planned. If all the things that fall perfectly in alignment and I follow my game plan to the letter, then I can achieve that goal. Most of us know life happens. If anything, over the past couple years, we've learned that things happen that are outside of our realm of control. When we had the shutdown, we were, maybe lost our job. We were laid off. Our gyms closed down. Our routine was disrupted. Our kids weren't going to school. And we didn't plan for any of that. That was a major disruption. And so we need to think about in the real world in life, what is a realistic goal for me? And so the things you need to consider are, can that goal be achieved based on your current ability and skill set? Do you have what it takes to achieve that goal? Can this be achieved even with setbacks? Or does it have to go perfectly planned? Are you planning that, hey, I have this weight loss goal, but I also know I have this big wedding that I'm attending, and there's going to be cookies and cakes and all this other stuff. And that's probably going to set me back. Or I have a vacation planned, or I'm going to be traveling a lot for work. You need to make sure that you are planning for those setbacks. Another thing is even with financial goals, a car breaks down, something happens, a home improvement project needs to be done at the house. And now, that's going to disrupt how we can save because now the money we may have put into savings has to go towards a project. The last thing here is also the achievable in real life. So, based on just what living your life, what's going on, what's happening, is this achievable based on all the factors that you've considered? Things that you've experienced in the past. I've tried to lose this weight before in the past and it hasn't happened because of these things that came up. So, is this achievable based on my skill sets, based on potential setbacks, and what I've achieved in the past? The next is to really evaluate those realistic expectations. Once you really sit back and you think about all the setbacks and things that have happened in the past, you want to reevaluate kind of what those goals might look like. So before it might have been, I want to lose 50 pounds. But after thinking about it, you realize, you know what? 30 pounds is much more doable. I think 30 pounds is still puts me in a healthy range, but I'm much more comfortable there. I want to save $10,000. And you start thinking, well, my car's been making this funny sound. I might need to put some work into it. And so maybe $10,000 is unrealistic. I don't always stick to my budget. I tend to impulse buy. So maybe we adjust that to $5,000 is a better goal. Coming off my blood pressure medication, I talk to a lot of clients that are on diabetes medications, blood pressure medication, and they really want to lose the weight and come off of it. But I'm going to tell you the same thing: consult your doctor. That might not be a realistic goal for you based on your current health conditions. There might be other factors that we can take into consideration. And I would say, based on what your goal is, really seek out any doctors, therapists, coaches, mentors to really evaluate if that goal is achievable for you and it make sure it's on the same game plan. We can read a lot of stuff online, people overcoming certain health issues because they did X, Y, or Z, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. So make sure you have all the facts and you're consulting with the specialists. The last one, I want to spend 120 hours of quality time with my family. And that may not seem like a lot, but remember, this is time set aside specifically, no distractions. And that can be really hard to do, especially if we know that like things with a job are ramping up or our kids are involved in a lot of sports and trying to get everyone's schedules on the right track. It's difficult. And so you might say, 60 hours of quality time with my family is probably a more doable goal. The last piece of setting a SMART goal is making sure it's time bound. So, when do you want to accomplish this goal by? So, I want to lose 30 pounds by June 1st. That's pretty doable, actually. That's about a pound and a half a week. And we don't recommend anything more than 2 pounds a week. So, that's a nice, steady progression of weight loss. It's nice that it's a 6 month goal. So, you have a good time frame to really try to achieve this goal without thinking like, oh, I can just keep putting it off till tomorrow. I want to save $5,000 by, the end of this year, by January 1st, end of December next year. I want to have $5,000 in my savings account. That's completely doable based on, your current situation. I want to get off my blood pressure medication by November 1st. Again, consult your doctor, make sure that's doable. I want to spend 60 hours of quality time with my family this year. So that might be, same thing, a December 31st cutoff. So you want to make sure that once you make that specific measurable goal, you have the dollar amount, the pounds, the hours, the time, whatever it is that you can measure, make sure you give it an end date, always keeping in mind realistic expectations and what can be done for you. One of the biggest issues that I have with my clients is poor planning. They try to do too much at once. And this is where it breaks down. New Year's resolutions, everyone's super excited. They hit the gym, they're doing really good until about February 15th. And then everyone falls off the bandwagon. And part of it is they try to go too big at once. They like cut all the carbs out of their diet. They're killing themselves 1 to 2 hours a time at the gym, and they just burn themselves out. So, what I try to tell my clients is take that bigger goal and cut it into small, actionable steps. So, for me, coming from a personal trainer and health coaching background, I deal with a lot of weight loss clients. And if we say, okay, I want to lose 30 pounds by June 1st, that's 6 pounds a month, about a pound and a half a week. We can do the calculation. Again, we're treating this like a scientist and we're breaking it down. So 1 pound equals 3,500 calories. So times 1.5, you need to burn 5,250 calories each week to achieve that goal. Then we can figure out, okay, how do we lose the weight? Well, we do it by burning calories through exercise and eating less calories. So we'll sit with the client, and typically a program I would drop would be, okay, we're going to try to burn an extra 1,000 calories a week through exercise, and we're going to eat 4,250 calories less each week. Break that down 600 calories a day. It's easier when you can look at it at the day to day. Where can I cut 600 calories today? A lot of times it's that after 7 p.m. snacking that kills us. It's amazing how many calories are in the drinks that we get. So that might be meaning cutting out a Starbucks drink or cutting out the soda, cutting out the crackers at night. And it's really easy to just drop that 600 calories each day when we can break it down into small chunks. Same thing with financial goals. I work with a lot of clients setting financial goals. So if yours is to save $5,000 by the end of the year, that means $415 in savings each month. Break it down. That's $96 a week or $13.70 each day. That seems pretty standard. So if you're somebody who stops at Starbucks in the morning or at the gas station for a cup of coffee and your breakfast, maybe you skip that and you brew your coffee at home, you get a snack at home, maybe you start packing your lunches. A lot of us are working remotely, so we're already starting to see some savings in our gas. We're starting to see it with cooking at home. If you're doing DoorDash, that's a great place to cut some of that money, and also it helps you with both goals. Perform regular check-ins. So, depending on what your goal is, I would recommend either a weekly, monthly, or quarterly kind of goal check-in just to make sure, are we on the right track? Is what we're doing still working? And the biggest thing is, remember, it's okay to have setbacks. Nothing is going to go perfectly. And if we set this SMART goal right, we took some of those setbacks into consideration. One of the biggest problems I have with my clients is that all or nothing mentality, that we have a day where we eat something we shouldn't, we spent money on something we shouldn't, we didn't exercise like we wanted to, something came up at work and we didn't get to spend that time with our family, and we like scrap the whole plan and we just start to really beat ourselves up. I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm not doing this right. They throw in the towel, and that's what really burns them out. The number one reason people fail at the gym on their New Year's resolutions is because they do too much at one time, and a lot of them actually get injuries. It's typically a back, shoulder, or knee injury that I see within that first 30 days. So by like February 14th, 15th, I'm starting to see a lot of clients that have these injuries because they've lifted too heavy. They went from being completely sedentary to trying to run 5 miles a day, and they're just beating up their bodies. And then they suffer this injury, and the doctor tells them they need to take 3 to 6 weeks off, and that throws them off their rhythm. And then the plan's completely out the window. They just scrap the whole plan. We need to make sure that we're planning for those setbacks. And at this point, I'm actually going to turn it over to Coach Candid, who can talk about when you're developing your goal plan, what is it that you really need to have in that?
Thank you so much, Megan. So, in the plan, so here are some alarming statistics for you, that only 3% of people actually achieve a goal without writing it down. So, part of writing your goals down and creating the plan itself is scientifically proven that if you don't write it down, 97% of people who don't write it down do not achieve their goal. So that's when we talk about writing the plan. What is in your plan? Obviously, you have to state what your goal is and create your timeline, as Megan has just pointed out. My recommendation is to write down the resources you have available for you today to achieve that goal. So, for example, if you have a weight loss goal and you own a stationary bike and it's in your house, you just don't ever use it, that is a resource you have today. So, write that down. Resources you need. So, let's say you don't have any equipment at your house whatsoever, you may want to get equipment. Or how about, let's go back to a resource you have. You have two legs that are available to you, you have two arms and a floor. It costs nothing to do a push-up or a sit-up. So again, the resources you have today, the resources you need, you may say that, oh, you know what, I know I'm not disciplined enough, so I'm going to need a coach. So that is, again, writing down the resources you're going to need. Also, list of the support group, like who is going to support you in each one of your goals. I like to call this your fan club. Now, here's another alarming statistic. Only 8% of people achieve a goal without a support system. So think about that. Only 8% actually achieve a goal without a support system. So whether that's belonging to a group of peers that are trying to achieve goals, such as this one, whether it's a spouse, your children, a friend, get your support group. I like to say, list out your fan club for each one of your goals. Identify the risk of not achieving the goal. So if it's to lower your blood pressure, the risk, obviously, we all know what that one would be, right? Like we don't want to risk our health and our life, period, with not achieving a goal. It could be to find a new job because you need more income. Okay, what is the risk of achieving that? You want to identify what your risks are. Also, identify two failure options. I like to call this the failure plan, and we'll talk more about that next. Megan, next. Oh, great. Okay, having a failure plan. So again, another alarming statistic, 4 out of 5 goals fail. So there's many, many reasons why a goal fails, but that is why with each one of your goals, we will go in and we will create 2 alternative options for each goals, because it's not that the goal necessarily failed. It's just maybe we have to postpone it. Maybe it's not coming to fruition the way we wanted it to look. Maybe we have to take another way to get to that, to accomplishing that goal. Example, if I don't lose 10 pounds by the end of the month, I will hire a coach, right? That is an alternative option for reaching your goal. Create a list of resources you have for each alternative option. So again, we're doing a subset, right? We have to create what we have and what we don't have for our alternative plans to achieving those goals. Also, add your alternative timelines for each option. This goes back to what Megan was saying, having and being realistic with what our options are. We may say, okay, I aggressively want to do 50 pounds, but here's my alternate option, 30 pounds. And to achieve my option plan, we're going to look at the alternative options for those. Next. Okay, the differences of a plan versus no plan. I always say a goal without a plan is just an idea. And again, 4 out of 5 goals fail. Plan for failure. This means having a realistic mindset. What helps with this is making lists and marking them green, yellow, red, or normal, important, and urgent. And by doing this, you're going to put yourself realistic timelines to achieving goals or having and creating your new normal, because it gets uncomfortable. It's impossible to create change without discomfort. So just always remember that this is going to be uncomfortable. But if you're challenged with, let's say, an illness that you live with every single day, such as RA, or it could be leukemia, you still are continuing to live your life and you want to accomplish great things. Plan for that. That is what's called a realistic mindset and creating a failure plan. So if you create your list and you put them into categories and you say, okay, I want to get this done. I need to do a load of laundry. That's just a normal to do item. It's green. I want to have it done within the next 10 days. Then when it becomes on your list, it moves within 5 days. You now have to mark that yellow. And then if you get within that 48-hour window, you now have to mark that red. Because if you get it done within 48 hours, you're allowing yourself 2 bad days if you don't feel well. So it's important to create your list and put them in categories so it helps you understand what is urgent, needs to be done right now versus just what's important and then what can wait. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And Coach Candid is a goals coach, and she has a fabulous goal mapping session, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But talking about that kind of realistic mindset, when I was taking my positive psychology course, we learned this stick with itness. And it's that mentality that even though we suffer setbacks, we can readjust the goals and we can stick with it. We have to remember that we set these goals and they're not set in stone, and we want to be motivated and we want to have that tenacity to go after it. But it's making sure that we have also that mentality that we're going to stick with this no matter what, no matter how many things are thrown at us, no matter how many setbacks we have and we suffer, we're going to keep going. We're going to persevere through this. With that said, there's a balancing act that we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going after this goal, but we also don't want to fall into insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. This is why it's important to have those measurable factors, because if you're going through and you're in that yellow zone that Coach Candid was just talking about, and you're nowhere near that goal, then we might need to change something up. Maybe it's, we're going to look at where you're spending. If it's a savings goal, we're going to look at where the calories are coming in. We're going to look at the type of exercises you're doing. We're going to look at your schedule and see where those time sucks are in your day so we can create more space for you. So we want to make sure that we are sticking with the plan. We still want to stick with that goal, but we don't want to just keep repeating the same thing over and over again and not getting anywhere. We don't want to keep having you spin your wheels. So it is a tough balancing act. The one thing I also want to point out is that I talk to a lot of clients, especially this time of year with New Year's resolutions. There's a lot of weight loss goals. And I hear I did Jenny Craig, I did Weight Watchers, I did Nutrisystem, and I lost X many pounds and it was great. If you have to go back, if you have to sign back up with one of those services, then let me tell you, it didn't work, because a good program is going to give you the healthy habits that you can maintain that. And one of the biggest health issues we have currently is people go on this yo-yo diet. And it's been shown that, say you had 20 pounds to lose and you went and you did Jenny Craig and you lost that 20 pounds, a lot of times it's shown if you don't develop strong, healthy habits and you don't maintain that weight loss, when you gain it, you're actually going to gain back more than when you started. So I typically see clients that have 30, 40 pounds to lose, and they're trying to repeat that same program over and over again, but it's not giving them the tools they need to stay successful and really make lifestyle changes. And this is the same whether it be, some kind of financial planning course or any kind of weight loss course or work life balance. I've seen it time and time again that, okay, it was a great 90-day program, it was a great 1 year program, but it really didn't set them up for building those healthy habits. And it starts with the mentality and the habit building. We want to make sure that you're getting those long lasting changes. Whatever program that you sign up for, it's going to stick with you, which is why it's so important when you do your goal mapping session with Coach Candid. She asks you, who do you have to support you? Who are your accountability buddies? And if you don't have a lot of family or friends that are really kind of in that same mindset as you, that want to go after those goals as you, then it's important that you link up with a coach or a mentor. Maybe you have a professional goal that you want to move up the chain in management. Who in your organization can you also seek out as a mentor that can take you under their wing and teach you the leadership skills that you're going to need in order to grow? At Life Force Wellness, we offer a bunch of different programs. So we have our Life Force Method, and it's a 6-month program where we focus on 7 areas of your health and well-being. And that's your existential or your purpose, your mental health, environmental, relational, emotional, physical, and financial. And if you're not sure where you're doing in any one of those areas, on our website, lifeforcewellness.com, we offer a free assessment, and it will ask you 10 questions in each of those areas. and give you kind of a measurement on which areas you're really thriving and maybe what areas of your life you're neglecting. But I will tell you that they're all connected. That if we're having some kind of physical ailment, if you're sick, I deal with a lot of clients that have autoimmune disorders because I myself had an autoimmune disorder, and so they're having those bad days. They physically can't do stuff that plagues on their mental health. They really start to beat themselves up, and then those negative self thoughts that come in, they start to mess with their emotional health. They get into depression. They get lonely. They feel left out. And then those emotional can feed into relational. They start to pull themselves back from their relations. So these are all interconnected, and it's important that we have all 7 areas in balance and really focus not just on the physical and financial, but also what's going on in your environment. How is your space set up for you to succeed? Who is there to support you? Where is your mentality? Are you giving yourself all this negative self talk, or are you practicing positive affirmations daily? As Coach Candid mentioned, we are doing a 90-day Kickstarter program. We have never done a program in 90 days. So, this is a very aggressive program. Because it's aggressive, we're only accepting 12 people. There are still some seats available. So, if this is something that sounds like it could be for you, let us know. The 90-day Kickstarter is really, we're going to give the life force assessment for free. You'll get a one-on-one goal mapping session with Coach Candid. So you'll get to sit down and really go through what we've talked about today. If you can try it on your own, but if you want to sit down with a coach and go, okay, here's the goals I have. What could be the potential setbacks? Who do I have to support me? What could be a potential fail plan for me? She will walk you through that and help you really develop that goal. With that, you'll get 4 online live workshops with us that will be private to that group, 6 group coaching calls, 3 individual calls with myself, and then full access to our Life Force Wellness app. So, this is a very robust program. It's very aggressive. And it's just for the first 90 days of the year to really make sure that you push through that lull. Because I will tell you, I've seen it time and time again. Generally, I see people really get after their goals on January 1st. They've got that motivation, they have the excitement of the new year. But by middle of February, March, they're already falling off the map, and then I see a lot of clients come back to me usually in April, and they're going, okay, I'm coming up to the end of when I wanted to achieve this 6 month goal, where I'm almost halfway through the year. I'm over a quarter of the way through the year and I'm nowhere close. And they're scrambling to reinvent the wheel. So we want to really stick with you for that first 90 days to make sure that we've got the game plan and you're building the habits you need to succeed through the rest of the year. We do have a 30-day booster option. So if 90 days seems like really too much, I just don't know that I can commit to a full 90 days, you can do just the first month with us. And that has really the primary core pieces where it's the goal mapping session. It will get the 2 live online workshops, 2 group coaching calls, and 1 individual with me. You'll also have access to our app for 30 days. And then we can kind of develop a plan that works for you thereafter. The Life Force app, I've talked about it here in the last couple slides. We actually have our own app that has community pages, much like Facebook. We have different challenges that you can join. You can track your progress through there. We have access to workout libraries, videos on demand. We have stress relieving sounds, guided meditation. We have a whole page for nutrition guidance, food tracking. We can develop nutritional plans, and you have access to a bunch of different certified professionals. So, not just me and Coach Candid, but through the app, I have licensed physician's assistants and different experts in different areas of well being. I also have financial planners on my team. So, no matter what your goal is, we can match you to the right person via the app. If you're interested in doing more of just a goal coaching or health coaching, where I just really like to sit down with Coach Candid and plan out my goals, or, hey, can we just jump on a call and I'd love to talk to you about kind of my health issues and I don't really know where I should go. We are happy to do that just as a one-off for you. Just let's talk it out, let's figure that out and really move you at your pace. So, as an overview to this workshop, the biggest things we want you to take away is one, don't make resolutions without being honest with yourself. Take time to really reflect and understand your personal boundaries. Don't be afraid to tell people no. And it's not uncommon for me to have clients that they set these goals, and really what they struggle with is the support. Their family's not on board with them, their friends aren't really on board with us. if you're really ambitious and you're going after something big, not just weight loss, maybe it's professional, maybe it's starting a business, a lot of times we see who our friends really are and we start to develop new groups of people that really will help motivate us. And this was a hard thing for me when I left my normal personal training job working at the gym and broke out on my own and started my own career. I lost a lot of friends along the way, but I also made a lot of new friends that had that entrepreneurial mindset that motivate me and challenge me. So I had to learn how to set personal boundaries for my friends, my family, and saying, no, this is not where I'm going to spend my time because I have these goals. And it's not selfish, but I will tell you that's probably one of the hardest things is dealing with the guilt of having to tell people no and set boundaries, especially if you're someone who's like me, who tends to be more of a people pleaser. I want to make people happy. The whole point of my business is I want to make people healthier. I want to help them find work life balance. So when I have to set a boundary and say no, it's difficult, but I have tricks and things that I've learned through positive psychology to help me work through those emotions. Next, we want you to have an action plan with checkpoints. So remember, we reviewed SMART goals, exactly what you need to do. Think about this like a scientist. Make sure you have specific measurable goals. Make sure they are time bound and give yourself checkpoints to make sure that we have that balance of I'm going to stick with this, but I'm not going to go insane doing it. I don't want to keep spinning my wheels, not getting anywhere. But I want to make sure that I'm persevering and I'm still focused on that goal. We just need to make sure that we can step outside and take a look at the big picture and make sure that we are on the right track. We're doing the right things. Next, I encourage you, even if it's not with a coach like me or Coach Candid, find someone you can share your plan with, someone that you trust to keep you accountable, not someone that's just going to listen and be like, oh, that's a nice goal. I hear that a lot, but somebody that's actually going to call you and be like, hey, did you get that email out? Hey, did you go to the gym today? Hey, did you order a pizza on Friday or how did you eat? Who's that friend that's not afraid to call you out that you are comfortable enough with having that open conversation with? And then lastly, have your fail plan and try to stay positive. And I know that's so hard when life gets thrown at you. I mean, I personally, we just had a car breakdown, my dishwasher broke, and my hot water tank was out for 5 days. I understand setbacks, especially when it was like my goal was to save so much money in the bank this year. And then it's like money's going out the door because all these things are happening. It's really hard to stay positive in those moments, but we can teach you the tricks to really help stay positive through those difficult times. And having a fail plan that you can go back and go plan B or plan C, we're switching gears, really helps in that moment. I will tell you, I'm a former competitive boxer, and we used to say there's only one guarantee in boxing, and that's that you're going to get hit. And I'm going to tell you, when you're somebody that's going after a goal, especially a really big, ambitious goal, the only guarantee is that there's going to be setbacks. You just have to plan for them. You have to be prepared for them. And you have to know that you got to get up and keep going and stick with it. If you want to know more information, we're going to be offering more online free courses throughout the year, Coach Candid and I. If you want to learn more about either of us, let me know. You can check out my website, lifeforcewellness.com. You can also email me at megan@lifeforcewellness.com. If you're someone who's interested in joining either our 90-day Kickstarter or our 30-day booster program with your New Year's resolution this year, just send me an email and mention Reframe Resolutions, and we'll give you 20% off those packages. At this time, I want to check to see if we have anyone in the chat or any questions, comments. We are live streaming this. So if anyone has any questions, we would love to open that up for you now. I'm going to check Facebook. Coach Candid, did you have anything to add while I check our other live stream?
I will just say that I was working with a client last week and she was apprehensive. We were working on the goal mapping worksheet and I asked her, do you want me to just send this to you and have you work on it? And I could tell there was that pause, and there always is. And I said, well, how about this? How about we work one together? Let's walk through it. Now, there was fear in just the daunting task of even how do I even do this? And once you start talking through it, I mean, it literally took less than 5 minutes to completely map out a goal with a failure plan. And it's the fear, sometimes fear can be debilitating. Sometimes you get analysis paralysis where you start over analyzing it and then you do nothing. And it's all about stopping long enough to say, all right, let me just deal with what's in front of me, working through it, putting it on paper. Because I always say, when you're fearful of something, the root of fear is lack of knowledge or training. Once you're no longer fearful of it, once you have the knowledge and education to take it on, it no longer becomes fearful and you can take on anything. But it is about the knowledge and training. And that's what these programs will do, are give you the knowledge and the training to take on any goal. Once you achieve the first one, you will become addicted to achieving the second, third, and your life changes.
Well, that plays real good. So we do have a couple questions. So one that I got is, can I go after more than one goal? So can I go after multiple goals? And this is something you and I actually just talked about. You had a client that actually had two goals and they were in conflict with each other. So I will say, for me personally, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to let you answer, Coach Candid, is yes, you can go after more than one goal at a time. We can go after two or three, and it's going to depend what's realistic for you. There are some people that I've worked with that they set a goal a month. So they have a big goal at the end of the year, and then every month at the end of the month, they're to achieve this goal. I will tell you though, each month kind of piggybacks off the other. So it's kind of a snowball effect, and it's really fun to like, okay, I hit that goal and to be able to check that box, but each one is getting them a step closer to the end goal. So absolutely, I would say yes, you can go after more than one goal, but you want to make sure that if you're setting two or three goals, they don't conflict with each other. And Coach Ken, I would love for you to share the story you shared with me on the woman that wanted to, I think she wanted to lose weight and also get a management position at the same time.
Yeah, she wanted to lose weight for a double knee surgery and get promoted all in the same year.
Yeah.
So, and again, that is the important piece of mapping. Okay, a map does what? Tells you each point along the route and what way to turn. That is why I choose to call it a goal mapping session. So we mapped it out, we talked about it, where there was a specific goal weight in order to get the knee surgeries and also get a promotion. So I said, again, talking it through, realistic. How are you going to be out for 3 months for a double knee surgery and still be able to get promoted? Because you're not going to be visible in the workplace. So you need to either focus on getting promoted, postpone your knee surgeries, or get your knee surgeries, come back, be energized and full life to take on the promotion. You can't have both in this situation. And it's just about being realistic and candid about what the facts are that we have in front of us. And that is the important part of mapping it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, like, even you have the Coach Candid tagline, and I'm very much the same way. I'm a very honest person. I'm not everyone's cup of tea as a coach because I am going to tell you like it is, but I think that's best, especially when we're dealing with your health. I don't like to sugarcoat things, no pun intended there, when it comes to your health. Like, we need to be real and serious about it. One of the other questions we got here is, what is the number one reason people quit and how can you help? I'm going to answer first here. And I will say, for me, it is a mental thing. So in positive psychology, we learned about this concept of catastrophizing. And that is where I see it when you have to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is like key to achieving your goals, and being able to tell people like, I'm not making time for this. I'm making time for that. I'm setting this hard boundary. And that's so hard to do. Trust, I'm the mother of two small children. I'm running a business. My grandmother is 91 years old. I help take care of her. But there are days where I have to say, you know what? No, I can't be there for this because I'm working on that. And it's so hard because that mom guilt comes in. And it can really fester and it can really plague you. And it's overcoming that mentality and that catastrophizing that, oh, if I say no, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then it always ends up with like, I'm going to die alone. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, think about when you were in high school. Oh, I'm going to fail this math test. I'm never going to get into a good college. Nobody's ever going to like me. And it always ends with, I'm going to die alone. And that's not the case. And so I spend a lot of time working with clients on, okay, Worst case scenario, you say no and you set this boundary. What's going to happen? Let's go over it. Best case scenario, you say no. What could be the reaction? What could be the outcome? Let's go over it. And then okay, let's take the best and the worst and then let's look at kind of what's going to happen in the middle. And a lot of times there is this sigh of relief when people really take the time to stop and think it through. It's like, okay, no, it's really not as bad as I thought it would be. It's not that big of a deal. Or even thinking, "Hey, remember that time so and so said no to you? How did you feel? Were you really that upset? Do you really think that this person is going to hate you because you said, "No, I'm not going to make that event," or "No, I'm not coming to dinner with you tonight." It's getting over that mentality. It really starts with what's going on in our head. What are we telling ourselves? All the negative self-talk, and we have a negativity bias. We tend to think more in negatives than we do positives. So really flipping that mindset to really have more of a positive and optimistic outset is really what helps to achieve those goals and overcoming that negativity, because once that negativity seeps in, everything else starts to shut down. And I would say that's the number one reason people don't achieve their goals for me. And that's how I help is we sit down and we go over a lot of that. It's almost like a therapy session. You get a mini therapy session.
Yeah, I agree with you, Megan. I always, well, first of all, if you Google number one reason for goals failing, it'll come up with a theme, well, a consistent theme, not specific enough, lack of focus, lack of purpose, shifting from reward effort, not specific. Um, if you go back to science, the first number one real reason is no, you don't write them down, which means you're not specific, which means you're not stating your purpose. And it all goes into that. The other thing that I will say based off of my tagging along with Megan, I call it, we're both saying the same thing, speaking different languages. Mine is your number one, your big enough reason why, which is what I talk about. What is your risk of not achieving the goal? The big enough reason why, which goes behind purpose and the real meaning behind why you're actually setting the goal, which goes back to mindset, as Megan said. So it all ties in together, and everyone is saying the same thing of the reason why goals don't get achieved. You're not writing them down, you're not finding out the real purpose behind why that's a goal for you.
Yeah, even Simon Sinek talks a lot about that. So I'm a big one. Yeah, bring it back to your why. Why are you setting this goal? Really is a great driver and a motivator. That's a great point. On that note, we're going to end here unless anyone has any other questions. So I did see a lot of people kind of came in late or there was an issue. I'm sorry, this is my first time using that Eventbrite. And so there might have been an issue with the Zoom link. So this is on our Facebook page. So if you go to Life Force Wellness LLC on Facebook, we are live streaming this and it will be on our timeline. We did record today's session. We're going to put this up on YouTube and we will share this out wherever you may have seen this, LinkedIn, Facebook, via email. So we will get this to you. If you would like us to send you that recording directly, or if you need any resources or handouts from today's PowerPoint, you can email me at that megan@lifeforcewellness.com. And I'm happy to share the link directly with you or even a copy of these slides if you really want to kind of dissect setting that goal and seeing what you need. And again, if you need any other help, we are running those two programs that are launching here with New Year's resolutions the first week of the year, the 90-day Kickstarter and the 30-day booster program. And if you mention Reframe Resolutions to us, you'll get 20% off those programs. So thank you again, Coach Candid, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for logging in today. And I wish you all a happy new year.
Thank you so much.